Hey, this is Heart Healing Fairy. My guides are having me look at two experiences that I've had. And one of them is when you see the observation of what we have interpreted as demons and what you have interpreted as angels. Not you, but humans on this planet since the beginning of time, where we have sort of created the stories of the demons and angels. And from a modern day mindset and us being able to understand energy in such a profound way by this point, I have encountered with my own two eyeballs demons, entities, and an angelic energy. And my guides were having me look at the experiences and what was actually taking place. And so I was a pretty troubled teenager, and I went through a phase of drug addiction. And as I was coming down off of a substance at one point, I saw demons on the walls, skittering around the walls. It was a pretty intense experience. And then on the other side of it, I had some sort of brilliant white light orb that I was sitting in the backyard with a fire one night. My mom was there, and I was singing a song under my breath. And this light just started to come up over the trees, and it caught my eye, and I looked, and I was singing, and it came down very slowly and kind of stopped, and I started singing louder, and it floated down all the way to where it came over our heads about a few feet up, and I was singing to it, and it got really, really, really bright and brilliant. It was probably about the size of a softball for what it appeared to me, because it was over our heads, about the size of a softball. So brilliantly white, shining. And it started to drift off into the night sky. And as the song I was singing ended, right when the song ended, it disappeared. And we just were standing there with like our mouths hanging open. It was incredible. So my guides were having me look at these two separate experiences, and were sort of showing me that depending on the vibration you are on, the frequency that you're on, you're seeing a reflection of the vibration that you are on. So a lot of people who are experiencing sort of darker aspects of the beings you can see, it's almost like you're peering into, it's like that energy can be projected into your reality depending on what frequency you're on. And so like with light beings and orbs and stuff like that, or like people who have encounters with ETs, you have to be on a certain frequency for it to even appear in your reality. And that's all it is. That's how it works. So if you think about like levels of consciousness, from the darker aspects to the light, and then everything you can possibly imagine in between. All of the things that humans have told stories about, they experienced that at a certain level or a certain vibration of consciousness that they were experiencing in that moment. It's almost like you're shifting through parallel realities that all are stacked up on top of one another. This is just like a visual. It's not hear it without the words, if you understand. And you're shifting through these parallel realities as you're shifting through vibration, as you're constantly, because you're not just stuck in one vibration and you just, it's constantly shifting. And these things can appear in your reality. So I thought that was a pretty interesting way that they were explaining that to me, because it's a sort of outdated way of thinking with the angels and demons things. But now that we have a sort of enhanced vocabulary of how to actually describe how it works vibrationally, makes a lot more sense, and it makes it not so scary. It's just energy. And I was actually listening to a channeler that I love recently. He was talking about like ET contact, and he actually mentioned the light orbs, and it was the first time I ever heard anybody say that. But I was like, oh, finally somebody said something about that, because I didn't really understand what we had saw that night. It was just beautiful, but he said it could be like a sort of angelic being or an ET contact, which I thought was so cool. And that one happened just after my stepdad had passed away, and my mom was actually really sad that night. And so that was a beautiful experience when it happened. But anyways, yeah, I think that's it. I will see you in the next one.